A few years ago, all I could see was the repeating message that gaming was dead, or at least dying, and that gaming was not what it used to be, and that gaming would only further slip into this downward spiral further and further. The dreaded years I was thinking and hearing this, of course, were the deadly years of 2020 to 2022. 2020 would see a pandemic hit which would change people's lives, but also change the gaming industry as a whole. You see, mainly before 2022, games that in fact ran the scene were Call of Duty and Fortnite, very online based games. Some very poorly made online games would come out, and who of course could forget the awful loot box scandal which was Call of Duty World War II and of course Star Wars Battlefront 2, which literally started court cases over it. Until 2020, when the games industry would be changed forever, where games would go from interesting but bad to completely stale and boring. And I would take an interestingly bad game over a stale, boring game any day. In 2020, we would all be trapped in our home waiting for the time to pass. Well, of course, unless you were from New Zealand. But hey, what better ways to pass the time than to watch TV, watch films, and of course, play great video games. But hey, what great games would release in 2020 for us to play? Well, very few, and those that did release were often flops and very poorly made. In fact, the only really good game I heard that did come out in 2020 was The Last of Us, but I didn't have a PlayStation, so I couldn't play The Last of Us Part 2. Oh, and of course Ghost of Tsushima, but once again, I didn't get to play that. By the way, Ghost of Tsushima was robbed. I mean, trust me, I'm not saying that 2020 didn't have games, because it did, but they were all really one-hit wonders or battle royales like Fall Guys or Fortnite. But there was one set of games I was really looking forward to. I called them the Big Three: Battlefield 2042, Call of Duty Vanguard, and of course, the one, the only, Halo Infinite. And while 2020 wasn't the best year for me and for games, I was hyped for what 2021 had installed. And then 2021 rolled on through, and when all three of these big three first-person shooters were announced to be launching in the same month, I was extremely hyped. And then they all released, and I have never been so wrong about what I thought games would be like in my life. Halo Infinite, being the best out of the three and being the one I was most hyped for, had hardly any content and got extremely boring after a while. Call of Duty Vanguard, of course, might be the worst Call of Duty game we have ever had to date. And the worst out of the three, the one that had the most going for it, the one that had the people behind it, Battlefield 2042, was a disgusting failure. My hope for gaming and for Xbox had nearly been completely lost. Lost until 2022, of course. Going into 2022, I had little to no hope for games. My morale and hope had all been depleted from the last 2 years. However, the first game I got was Dying Light 2, and a little fun fact is it's one of the first games I actually made a video on this channel. The game was by no means a masterpiece, but was extremely fun and very enjoyable. But my hope for gaming wasn't fully restored until the 25th of February 2022, when the GOAT, the absolute incredible game which was Elden Ring, would release. And it would release completely shaking the industry. And yeah, I never saw Elden Ring getting the traction it got, and it's a Dark Souls spin-off game. I had never seen the pure reaction of joy, pleasure, and happiness from the pure trailer alone, reaching well over 10 million views, showing that even though this is a Souls game, a game that does not fit into the average criteria of gamers, people were ready for something that was made with craft and made with love. People like myself, who had never touched a Dark Souls game or dreamed of playing one, were playing Elden Ring and loving it. It really did set a new standard for how a finished game should be. And from there, the industry would boom with games such as the LEGO Skywalker Saga, God of War Ragnarok 2, and of course that really strange game High on Life, completely blowing up the industry. 2022 single-handedly saved gaming, and it did this by using story games, something that online games obviously couldn't do. Notice how all of the games I just listed, or at least most of them, were single-player story narrative games. 2022 saved gaming, not because of the new Fortnite update, the new Call of Duty, or the new Battlefield, but because of the new, completely, incredibly, and beautifully crafted stories and amazing game worlds that only story games could truly master. And there are even more I didn't mention, such as Horizon Zero Dawn and Stray. And I want to make this clear. By no means am I suggesting that 2022 were the founders of story games, because arguably the biggest year for story games was 2018, with Red Dead Redemption 2, God of War 1 relaunching the entire series, Insomniac's Spider-Man, and so many more. However, it still feels like 2019 and then 2020 put these games to shame by not really launching any others to come up with that. And further, it always felt like no matter how much story games did, in the media it was always online games that got the more press and always got more recognition until 2022's story games. In fact, it feels like because of 2022, the industry now leans more in favour of story games than it does online multiplayer games, which to me is insane. And this is all thanks to the greatness that was 2022's games. And that pretty much brings us up to speed on all of the games that have come out for the last year. And I'm not going to go over all the games that have come out this year, mainly because I have a video coming out on that. But I do want to bring up the point that video games, in terms of story games, are now selling better than they ever have before because of 2022, and are now viewed in a much more respected light and a much better way. And actually, the games people get most hyped about and most excited about now are mainly story games. I mean, look at the latest Call of Duty. Not Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is a very big online branded game, but yet people loved the story. So what is the main point of this video, you may be asking? Well, I want to go over things that have A, just happened in the gaming industry, and B, are going to be happening for 2024's games. And I just want to talk about how it will really affect 2024 in a good way. And what better way to start this off than talking about the GTA 6 trailer? And if I'm honest, what can I really say that hasn't already been said already? I mean, I personally just think I'm so happy that trailer's graphics are getting the respect and the recognition they deserve, because oh my goodness, this game just looks so graphically incredible. I mean, shit, I could easily make this whole video on the GTA 6 trailer from the way it's gonna literally change the way games are looked at when it comes out. I mean, just think about all of the hundreds of player models that will be walking around, and the countless things to do, and the interior designs, and just the cars and the activities. This game is just going to be so huge, and it looks so incredible. And sure, we're not getting GTA 6 as quick as a lot of fans wanted it, but the fact that we're bound to get more and more trailers and details next year is more than enough for me, at least. And sure, yes, it can be annoying that this game will not, or is speculated to not be releasing on PC, but think how good and amazing it will look on consoles. And of course, without a doubt, the most important thing, it's a woman, guys. Oh my lord, it is a woman, because we've never ever had that before, guys. This is the first time ever in the gaming industry that a woman protagonist has been in a game. Yeah, I'm obviously joking, but I don't know why the media are trying to spin it, and a lot of people are trying to spin it like this is the first ever woman we've had in a game. Has no one played Telltale's The Walking Dead, or The Last of Us, or the Lara Croft games, or literally most games ever? But hey, that's the media being the media, so we'll let them do their thing, and we can know that our thing is good. GTA 6 looks incredible, the trailer looks incredible, and I cannot wait for the extra trailers next year. Ubisoft are a really strange company to me, because on one hand they've made some really good games, and to me some of my favourite games to revisit, like Watch Dogs 1, but at the same time in recent years they seem to be stuck in this fucking awful cycle of just recycling the same lazy things for every single game. And from some leaks and sources I've been reading, Ubisoft apparently and allegedly aren't in a great place at the minute. Apparently apparently they've actually lost a huge amount of money on the new Assassin's Creed game, even though a lot of people say it's good. Watch Dogs is finished because the last one they made sucked ass, and apparently their company just aren't selling what they need to sell to keep producing the games they're producing. Basically, in short terms, they're not profiting as much as they used to, which is a big issue. In case you don't know, when a company doesn't profit its margins, it means that that company will fold and then it will basically collapse, aka bankrupt. And you'll notice on the timestamps below, I'm actually going to be talking about Ubisoft quite a bit, and that's because Ubisoft, I think, play quite a big part in how next year's games go. For example, they have two massive games coming out next year, one being Star Wars Outlaws, which everyone is extremely excited for, and the other one being Skull and Bones, a pirate game, which everyone seems to be hyped for. And I mean, everyone seems to be hyped for both of these games, but I'll touch on both of them a bit later on in the video. For now, I want to talk about Avatar, because I know this game has already come out, and I know I'm late to the subject, but I want to talk about it because I am extremely hyped. Now, please, comment section, don't hate me if I get this wrong, because I haven't played the game yet, and I haven't looked at any reviews, but in my opinion, Avatar looks incredible. From the trailers alone, it just looks like they're really pouring a lot of love and care into this game, and it really feels like they're trying their best to get everything as right as they can for the Avatar lore, and for this game to just work. I mean, James Gunn's studio literally handpicked Ubisoft to make this game, because they thought Ubisoft were the ones who were best equivalated to make it, and they're, you know, working extremely close with the studio, the film studio, to make sure it follows the canon and the lore and fits into the lore, and I just really hope it does well, and I hope it is good. Overall, the main reason I wanted to cover this first before talking about Ubisoft's actual big contributions to next year is because this game from the trailers really does give me hope for the new Star Wars game and the pirate game, in the fact that it does seem that Ubisoft are changing up what they're doing and are trying to adapt so they're not following that same copy-repeat cycle that they do in every game, and hopefully this means that Star Wars will be good. And hey, if the game is as polished as the trailers look and the mini documentary seems to say, if you haven't seen the mini documentary, please check it out. It's just such an incredible in-depth look into not only like how the game was made, but Ubisoft as a company. It's good. I really hope it is good, and it gives me hope for Ubisoft as a company. Now, video games aren't the only thing that's good that's coming out next year. In fact, there is one such TV show that's coming out next year, which has got me extremely excited. And that, of course, is the Fallout TV show. When I say I really could make a full video breaking down and analysing this trailer, I mean it. Hey, I might do that. But this year especially has been great for games in other mediums. For example, we had the extremely fun Mario film to the not so great Halo TV show. Video games are getting represented in other mediums, and that is a good thing if they're good. For example, I recently saw one of my old English teachers from high school, and she had saw the Last of Us TV show and absolutely loved it. And she never would have saw this if it had stayed in video game form. And that's why it's so important that video games are shown in other mediums. Some of you watching this video will be subscribers from a video I made on Fallout, whether it be the one that blew up and then led me to milk Fallout 4 dry, I don't know, but it's probably from one of my Fallout videos, so you would know I fucking love Fallout. And I was so happy with this trailer. The trailer just looks like it's been made with such love and polish, it is insane. From the vault to the wasteland to rag roaches crawling through windows, this looks absolutely incredible. Oh, and by the way, it's from the studio that made The Boys. Yeah, sign me the fuck up. Just look at the costumes. Oh my goodness, it looks so good. And then halfway through the trailer, they hit us with that fired song, and they show the Brotherhood of Steel, who look amazing and just look incredibly good. And there's the dog meat's going to be in the show. I'm completely fanning out over this show. It looks so incredible. From a look at the combat scenes as well, it looks like this is going to be quite gory, which I really respect, because the Fallout games are quite gory, so I think this really just fits in with the tone of Fallout. From the bear attacking the Brotherhood Knight, to this monster thing, to even the bombs dropping on this city, it looks so good. And is that the Prib win? Because if that is the Prib win, I would go nuts, because Elder Maxon on the big screen would be insane. The trailer looks amazing, it looks like it's made with love, and it looks fantastic. I personally just really hope another settlement doesn't need my help.
I got word of a settlement that...
The last successful pirate game we had was Sea of Thieves, which came out over 5 years ago in 2018. And this has always been a strange thing to me, because it feels like Wild West games and pirate games are some of the most profitable games in the gaming industry, but almost no companies dare try and make them because of how successful the games that have been made already are. And to be fair, I can't always blame them when they're going up against studios like Rockstar. But hey, here comes Ubisoft, ready to take on the challenge of making a fully open world online pirate game, and from the trailers, yeah, it looks great. The trailer kind of gives off the same vibes and looks and feels that Black Flag did, the same pirate game Ubisoft made way back in 2013. There's not really a lot I can say about this game because I am highly skeptical. Sure, from the trailer, the game looks great, and it promises a lot of features, such as being able to board other players' ships and take them down, and even quite a cool fame/well-known system. However, I do know without a doubt, if this pirate game succeeded, it would open up the gaming market massively, and I also know that Ubisoft are the company to do it. I mean, they did it once with Black Flag, who knows, they could do it again with this one. Suicide Squad kill the Justice League, oh how the mighty have fallen. Once upon a time, literally everyone was talking about this game and how good it would be and how good it's gonna be for DC, how we'll finally have another Rocksteady classic game, and now there is nearly over 10 minutes worth of trailers for this game, and no one is talking about it. This game right here was at one point one of the most promoted and hyped games for 2024, and I myself for a while even thought it could win Game of the Year. Well sir, I'm afraid not anymore. I'm just gonna say what everyone is thinking. This game does not look good. The game looks generic and mid, and I'm not one to shit on games before they come out, because I could be completely wrong. This could be the worst take of the whole of 2023, but I just don't think it will be. The truth is, people need to realise that Rocksteady aren't the same company that made the beloved Arkham games. And I do fear that their last entry being in 2015, being the controversial Arkham Knight, that if Rocksteady can't turn people's opinions around with this one, I feel like they will fall into irrelevance. I am a huge DC nerd and always have been. I always thought their characters are deeper, their villains are better, and overall they had more potential to do better than Marvel's stories. Guys, by all means, I want this to succeed. I want this game to be good, but I just don't see it. I really don't see how they can push this game any further than we've already been shown. It just looks mid, and the fact that they're connecting this to the Arkham universe further shits on Arkham Origins, City, and Asylum even more than Arkham Knight did. I fear the absolute worst for Rocksteady, because if they fall into irrelevance, they do have that slight chance of going bankrupt. And while I don't think they will, because they are such a titan of a company and they're pretty much known for doing DC superhero games, it still does give me that fear, because I don't think this game will sell well, and I don't think this game will do well, and I don't think this game looks well. But hey, I really hope it does do well, and I really hope this is the worst opinion/take of 2023. Star Wars Outlaws, I hope and pray is good. From everything we've been shown, it looks really good. In fact, in my opinion, it kind of looks like a GTA Star Wars game, which is something I have wanted for years. You know, a game where you can just do everything you can do in GTA, but in a Star Wars field. I think that'd be really cool. I also think that this game is probably the most likely game to get Game of the Year next year. Wow, that was a lot of games. However, when the start of this year came around, everyone thought that Starfield would get Game of the Year, so don't be surprised if it doesn't happen.
And one of the great things about having a fully dynamic game engine is all of this just works. I'm not kidding. The generators will power things through switches that require power, lights and other items, and then you run wires that connect them all, and again, it just works. All of this just works. All of this just works.
But that is completely and all up to Ubisoft and whether they can hold up Star Wars fans' expectations, which by no means is easy to do. With Ubisoft's company currently being split into three, one to work on Avatar, which is now out, one to work on Skull and Bones, which is in progress, and of course the main part of Ubisoft's company being used to work on the new Star Wars game, Star Wars Outlaws. Time will only tell if this was an ingenious play from Ubisoft to work on multiple projects at once, or a horrible mistake that cost them 3 projects. But from everything I've seen, it looks really good, and I mean really good. And thank goodness I haven't seen a lightsaber yet in any trailers, because guys, you do fucking know that not everything needs to have a lightsaber in it. I've seen people genuinely going nuts saying that it needs to have a lightsaber in it or they're not buying it, and that is insane. Not every single Star Wars product needs to have a lightsaber. You know who you are. From the gameplay trailer, the game looks excellent, and from the graphical side, the game is excellent. Only time will tell if this is Ubisoft's game of the year, and if this is Ubisoft's time to shine in this overall industry. However, one thing is for sure, 2024 will be the year of Ubisoft games, and only time will tell whether they can stay in this industry as a competitor, or whether they will fall off because of their same-natured games. Only time will tell if they can truly innovate and make good products. Now, I wanted to dedicate this section of the video to exclusives, because now that Xbox have finally got off their arse and decided they're going to compete with PS and Nintendo, I thought it would be good to find out what the respected companies are making next year. For Xbox, their main flagship title for next year is Hellblade 2, which will be exclusive. However, I would take this with a massive pinch of salt, as we don't have a direct release date for the game, and it's supposed to be coming out next year. So whether it actually does come out next year, you know, time will definitely tell, and how good it is, we don't know. There hasn't been a proper gameplay trailer yet. It seems to be in this trailer there's a mix-in between in-game footage and actual gameplay, but it's hard to tell, so it'll be interesting to see. Either way, the game does look very fresh and cool. The game also goes for this quite dark and gritty atmosphere, which I'm a massive fan of. It's about time Xbox games get some grit on them like PS have. But hey, Hellblade 2, that ain't shit on Still Wakes the Deep, my guy. I am hyped for Still Wakes the Deep, and it seems like only me. Still Wakes the Deep is a horror game made by a small company where you're on this oil rig and something's in there with you, and it looks incredible. The guys over at the team that are making this game have done a fantastic job in the trailers of making it look like this Bioshock-esque game, and I can't wait for it to release. That's my real exclusive game. PlayStation have Final Fantasy VII, which looks okay. I don't know why 7 is exclusive and a lot of the other ones aren't, but okay. I mean, I won't lie, the game's story actually looks quite mature, going off of what I've seen and the trailers I've watched. The story actually looks quite good, and I know Final Fantasy games are known for their story. However, gameplay-wise, it's a Final Fantasy game. It will be the exact same gameplay in the other games. PlayStation do have one other exclusive coming out, which is Halo 3 ODST. I mean Halo. I mean, all jokes aside, it's called Helldivers 2, and yeah, it's basically Halo 3 ODST with a fresh coat of paint, and you're actually fighting different aliens. I genuinely can't believe it's just Halo 3 ODST. I mean, it's nuts. All jokes aside though, the game does look really polished, the graphics look absolutely stunning, and I'm really excited to see what they do with it, as I'm really excited for the gameplay. Hey, fuck Halo, if they won't make another Halo 3 game, if they won't make another ODST game, I'm glad someone else is making a game like it, and I think it will look really good, and I hope it will be really good. As for Nintendo, they're getting loads of little games, and I can't really go over all of them because of how many there are, but they don't seem to have one massive release date or some massive game to release for 2024. It's just a lot of products, which I'm really happy for. Nintendo obviously have the most amount of exclusives, but then Xbox have the most focused exclusive, but overall I think quality will probably go to PS in this with their Helldivers game. It does just look really good. Now, why am I talking about exclusives? Well, exclusives are very important. If all three of these major corporations are competing with each other, the bar is raised because games want to be better so that they can compete more, which means we will get better games in the next year, putting gaming in a better place. In conclusion, I think next year will actually be pretty laid back in terms of games. I don't think we're going to get anything massive or anything gigantic other than Star Wars Outlaws and the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game, if you want to really call that massive or gigantic. In conclusion, I really just think next year will be a laid back game for us to catch up on other games and prepare for the absolute amazing fest which will be 2025's Grand Theft Auto. While I don't think there will be many games coming out next year, I think the games that will come out will be pretty polished and pretty high quality, so I can't wait to see what happens. I think more than anything, it will be Ubisoft's chance to make it or break it in this industry, seeing if they're really fit to adapt and change to how the gaming scene is moving, or if they'll have to look in else ways to profit from their margins. However, either way, only time will tell if they will get Game of the Year next year, or whether all of their games will flop. I really hope they succeed. It will be an important year for Rocksteady to show the fans and show everyone that the time, hours, years they have put into Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was not wasted and the game will be good. I really hope they prove me wrong. And the last major thing that will be happening is it will be Bethesda's chance to really branch off into a new medium, a TV medium, and show the people of the world that Fallout can work as a TV show. And as for exclusives, I think this year will give Nintendo, PlayStation and Xbox a lot of rooms to rather not compete, but very much experiment on what they can do with their exclusive games and how they sell, as the games coming out next year are quite different to your average exclusive games. But overall guys, I'm just happy that gaming is moving forward in the right direction and in a positive direction, and can't wait for next year's games. Thank you guys ever so much for watching this video. This video was a long time making and is very rushed. I've gathered the clips and edited this extremely quickly, and even the recording is extremely quickly done. However, the script I think is one of the best scripts I've ever written. I know I don't think this video is going to do very well on views because I'm in a little bit of a dip at the minute, but if you're someone who's coming back to watch this and you've made it to the end, please do like and subscribe, and leave a comment down below what is your most anticipated game for next year. Thank you guys ever so much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next video. Stay safe guys, see you later.